won't be.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
Yeah, but he's married to J-Lo, like, you know? They
yeah.
gotta,
So,
they gotta
so
hold
he
some
should
weight.
be in the Hall
He
of
should
Baseball-
be in the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame
Baseball
for
writers
hottest
of America
wives.
do
Bro,
not care
there are
about that.
so many Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Spanish people in the MLB. They have to show respect for the queen.
All right,
J-Lo.
guys, welcome back to BettorView Live. We are here. We're going to be breaking down this Toronto Raptors versus Milwaukee Bucks game. The Raptors opened up at about 6-point underdogs. They won the last matchup that was 2 days ago, and now we have Kyle Lowry out after exiting the game last week. A couple days ago with I believe, a hamstring or a quad injury, ankle, same thing. So the line has now jumped up to 7.5. Where we'll talk about the line in itself real quick. I think Ensar has our play on the side.
Yeah, so I'm taking the Bucks minus 6.5. I'm not too high on I got it at 6.5. I know it's at 7.5 right now. That was before the Kyle Lowry injury update. I was expecting him to be out, so I wanted to jump on away. And I just think this Bucks team's on this Bucks team's on a 4-game losing streak, and I think this is where they're gonna bounce back. I don't like the Raptors this year, and I don't think they can take care of it without their leader in Kyle Lowry.
So that's where you and I differ a little bit, Ensar. I do like the Raptors this year. I think there's a bit of an overreaction. The roster is essentially the same. They have some players that are going to be playing better, one in which I have some props that we can talk about in a little bit in OG Anunoby. But realistically, what I don't like this Raptors team without Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
Kyle Lowry is the heart and soul of the team. I know Fred VanVleet is averaging 20 points a game. I'm not a huge fan of the offense when he's not on the floor, and without Kyle Lowry, they're going to be without a leader. The only thing that I will say on that note is that they have activated my long shot rookie of the year,
Malachi Flynn.
Malachi Flynn. Malachi Flynn is not going to win the rookie of the year, unfortunately, but he is going to be active and will probably serve as the backup point guard for this game. But what we want to talk about here is if this line was at 7.5 and Kyle Lowry was in, I would be on the Raptors. I would have been on the Raptors at 6.5. They won outright the other day, and I took them on that. The line was about the same. I took them +6. They won outright. So we're in a very similar spot, but again, the Raptors are going to be without their leader, emotional leader, on-court leader in Kyle Lowry. So I think that's pretty significant. Frank, you have any thoughts of how the Raptors might play without Kyle Lowry?
Yeah, I think that without Kyle Lowry, there's going to be the lack of perimeter defense. You're going to have Van Vliet out there doing his thing, who is one of those guys who is primary ball handler, scorer, not known for his defense, as well as the fact that I believe Giannis did a little bit too much last game against the Raptors. So I think they're going to emphasize trying to defend this from the paint, maybe develop a 2-3 kind of makeshift defense. And I'm expecting a lot of guys to go off on the Milwaukee Bucks today who are shooters. Speaking on guys like Brook Lopez, Dante DiVincenzo, and possibly Chris Middleton.
Yeah, so are you guys seeing, because I was very interested, are you guys seeing any Malachi Flynn point props or any props at all?
No, I'm not seeing any Malachi Flynn props. I think DraftKings has all the Raptors props down right now, but FanDuel does have a lot of their props up. You mentioned Frank Giannis not having a big game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to take the under on his points, rebounds, and assists.
Mm-hmm.
This is a ridiculous line. 52.5 points, rebounds, and assists. You're basically telling me that Giannis Antetokounmpo can have a triple double. Points, rebounds, and assists.
Outrageous line.
52.5 is way too high. Anything over 50 to me, I think, is high. I mean, anything over 50 is just tough to take. And in this game, the Raptors quietly have pretty good interior defense. I know Aaron Baines is not stopping too many people, but he's still a decent defender. Pascal Siakam quietly is not a bad rim protector. Chris Boucher, again, not a bad rim protector. So, and we all know Giannis can't shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Giannis can still score 30 points in this game, and there's a chance that he doesn't reach 52.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So, like I said, this number is just way too high. And I think for us, we're going to have a tough time watching it because He is going to score at least 20 points. He probably is going to get over 10 rebounds. He might get a triple-double, and you can still cash this play because of how high it is.
Yeah, and there's going along that. If you're on the side that you believe Giannis is still going to do a lot, but won't get that 52.5 because of how outrageous it is, I'm going to look towards the Giannis over 7.5 assists. And it's not because he's some facilitating god. He's not a Luka Doncic. He's not a LeBron James point forward. But this game is going to come very easy when it comes to passing the ball because he's going to get so much defensive attention from guys like OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and it's going to be pretty simple, as well as there is plus value in this play. You take the under, it's at minus 125. You have plus 105 value. If you're in that boat with me and on this is going to be one of those games where they try to single out on Giannis, then he's going to have some assists.
Yeah, and I think that's a great line because Giannis earlier the Giannis assist at DraftKings was plus 115. So now you're looking at plus 105. This has been steamed down a little bit closer to game time. One of the most important, I think that is the best hedge against our 52.5 because like I outlined, if you go by his implied point total, right? 32 points, 13 rebounds, and 8 assists is the implied stat line to get above 53 points, rebounds, and assists. So if you look across, what's going to happen, right? 32 points, viable. 13 rebounds is a lot, but it's kind of similar to where he is on the season. So it's really the assists that is an interesting spot for us. If he gets that 32 points, maybe he scores 35 tonight. Maybe he gets 10 to 13 boards. Really what's going to put him over this 52.5 is going to be the assists.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great spot to hedge where we can easily win both of these. Let's say he has an off day. He scores 18 points, 10 and 10. We can cash that way too. I think the 8 assists is a great way to hedge that bet, or if you're not hedging and you like Giannis in general, I would rather take that bet than any other bet there is.
Yeah, it's just the value there. You look at things like the points and the rebounds, you're not going to get the same value. You're going to have a bunch of house money with like minus 120 coming in, minus whatever it is. So I want to move to somebody who I do like I noted before, Dante DiVincenzo, who has been playing above his skill level, I believe, in the past couple games. And it's the line is at 11.5. We get 4 3-pointers in. This is a guy who's very capable of hitting floaters and everything in between. Dante DiVincenzo, I know Max loves his college little, his
little Villanova action, right?
Little Villanova, little superstar. So I really do like DiVincenzo today. When Giannis is going to have trouble handling the ball, that's who'll do it.
And Frank, not only is he a Villanova grad, he's a Paisan. So we always root for them. And I think also, when we talk about DiVincenzo, he's quietly been one of the best defenders in the league. He's going to play a lot of minutes. He's going to play a lot of minutes today. Pat Connaughton's another one. He's a shooter. He's playing a lot of Connaughton, same thing. He's going to play a lot of minutes.
Notre Dame alum, right?
Notre Dame. See, that's pretty much the other, the other school that we like to look for. But DiVincenzo I like a lot because he's going to get minutes. He's going to have a lot of volume out there.
Yeah, I also want to talk about Dante because last game they played 2 days ago against the Raptors, he had 12 points and 8 assists, and that was on a really rough shooting night, right? He was 5 from 14 from the field and 1 from 8 from the 3-point line. I think I wouldn't call him a streaky shooter. I would call him he could take a lot of shots, but he's gonna make them, right? 1 for 8 is not something I'm gonna expect to see again. And with him getting 12 on that 1 for 8 from the 3, I expect him to maybe hit a lot of 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 4 threes in this game.
He's shooting 40%.
So he's up there with the best.
3, yeah. And I think that's been affected by a couple of recent performances where he hasn't been that good. His points, rebounds, assists is sitting at 20.5. I feel like that's a fair number. Like you said, against the Raptors, he had 8 assists and 3 rebounds.
Yeah.
The game before that against Oklahoma City, he had 8 rebounds, 2 assists. He's capable of getting 5 and 5 on both sides, on assists and rebounds. If you can get anywhere near 10 for that side, I think Dante DiVincenzo is scoring between 12 and 15 points today. So depending on what you have his point total at, it might be a better look to go for the points, rebounds, and assists, because in a game where I don't want to say we're fading Giannis because he's still going to have an insane stat line, we're not looking towards that number. We're looking at DiVincenzo. You got his rebounds at 5.5 or plus 125 at DraftKings. You have his assists at 3.5, where it's shaded a little bit to the under. And the points, I believe, is at what is the points at? The points at 11.5.
Yeah.
I would take the points over. And secondly, I would take the points, rebounds, and assists over. If you can get 20.5, I wouldn't take it at 22. I saw somewhere else, but 11.5 seems a really good number for his point total. It really looks like the books think Giannis is going to have the game of his life.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of did have a really good game last game against them,
And he
because
still didn't get 52.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
he got 52 if my math is correct. I think like he had to do a lot in that game, and the only real help that he had, aside from Bobby Portis, was Pat Connaughton. Right, we just spoke up a little bit. Who had a 20.9 on 8 of 15 shooting, 4 from 10 from the 3-point line. I don't like. We expect Dante DiVincenzo to play better. I don't expect Pat Connaughton, to play that well tonight.
Right. And I think another way to hedge this Giannis bet is to look at Chris Middleton under 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Yeah.
He can get 8 or 9 rebounds or assists on the off night. Chris Middleton in 2021 has not been a 20-point per game shooter, a scorer. Maybe he can be, maybe he is, and doesn't really show it. That's fine. If he scores 18 points, it's tough for me to get that 34.5 because he's not a great rebounder. He's really not a great passer either. So, again, if this is the game where the Bucks silence all the haters and they say, all right, we're here, we're the Bucks, we're not going to be bad anymore.
20-point plus win kind of thing.
Fine. We will have the Bucks on the spread. We'll take that.
Yeah.
But to hedge against that in a game where, hey, maybe they do eke out a 120 to 112 kind of game and they are able to get over that 6.5 and maybe even cover the 7.5, which is available right now, I'm going to look to fade some of these Bucks stars because they can still cover the spread with or without them. Perhaps we get a huge blowout because the Raptors can't really play without Kyle Lowry. These guys going to come out of the game. I know I say Chris Middleton is not a 20-point per game scorer. I know he's averaging 20 points on the dot, but I don't really see him as that. And in the recent games, he has been struggling a little bit. I'd be looking to fade him in this one. 34.5 points, rebounds, and assists. You're implying that Middleton gets way too many rebounds or assists. I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to take the under on him as well.
Yeah, and let me show a little bit of love to everybody in the chat right now.
Yes, sir.
We got Coop joining us. What's going on, Coop?
Coop, man, shout out our guy Coop, and if you guys have an opportunity, check out Spreading the Floor Pod. Our guy Coop does a great job over there.
Sure.
Yes, sir. And we have Molly Sullivan saying that you three know your stuff. Keep the intel coming. Locked in. Love the coasters too. These are courtesy of John. We always got these in these episodes, in these lives. Coasters always come in clutch. We love this table. But thank you for that. And Apollo Sharp, howdy, y'all.
Apollo Sharp, what a name.
What's going on? Howdy. I'm assuming that you're on the Bucks today when you jack the howdy. But you guys are talking about assessing the points, rebounds, assists when it comes to certain players. And you guys talked about that with Chris Middleton. We kind of have this player that we believe we're all on board is going to go off. Last week was man bun himself, Kelly Olynyk. And I think today is Dante DiVincenzo is the guy because you look at the points, rebounds, assists, and it comes in at I think it's a little. You like the number, but for me, I think it's a little bit too high. It's assuming that he's going to get a lot of rebounds because if you look at the other numbers, you have the points at 11.5.
Right.
You have the assists at 3.5. So how do you make up that ground? We're assuming he's getting like upwards of 6-7 rebounds. So I would like to go with the assist in this situation just because it is valued at 3.5. You get the minus 106, which isn't crazy value, but it's definitely better than a lot of these other props. And last game he had 8 assists, and this is not speaking on the fact that he's going to have the ball for most of the game, I assume, and he's going to be playing more minutes than last time. So I think the 3.5 for Dante DiVincenzo's assists is going to look pretty good because if they do develop that 2-3 zone early on, then you're going to see a bunch of lobs to Giannis or these little, those Russell Westbrook passes where he runs into the paint, dishes it off to somebody like a Steven Adams, and it's a nice little layup. Yeah. So the 20.5 is lovely. I think it's a little bit overvalued, but it'll get there because of the assists as opposed to the rebounds. But because of that, you should take the 3.5 assists.
That could be interesting as well, because they're still without Drew Holiday, who is out with COVID. I say what you want about Bryn Forbes. He is not. He's not a point guard.
Yeah.
He's a good shooter. He's not a point guard. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a guy in Dante DiVincenzo take some of the point guard responsibilities when Giannis is not handling the ball. Now, before we talk more, I got some Raptors I want to highlight for you guys. I do want to mention that there's a new way to play DFS without the salaries that you see on other sites, without paying for money lines or these lines that we're talking about. Monkey Knife Fight combines fantasy and player props. Just decide if Giannis will have over 30.5 points or if Pascal Siakam will have over 20.5 points. Sign up today and get a free $5 instantly and a $50 deposit match. Monkey Knife Fight is available in 30 states. Must be 18 years or older to play. And what you guys can do is use our code WatchBetLive.com. You guys can, again, take advantage of that free $5 and $50 deposit match. Use our code WatchBetLive.com. We'll be dropping it in the chat. Make sure we see you guys on Monkey Knife Fight.
Yeah, and I just wanted to speak on the total a little bit because it opened at 235. It's a rather high total, range anywhere from 234.5 to 234. Even in some places, it went up to 236. I think it's at 234.5 right now. What do you guys think about it? Because I leaned under right away, but I wasn't totally sure, so I didn't want to have a play on the game.
Yeah, I don't really have a play on that either. This is something I'm going to be watching live. This is a live betting show. We'll be seeing how the flow looks.
Yeah.
I think the Raptors' offense is going to be all right without Lowry at times. So I think overall, when it comes crunch time, listen, Kyle Lowry is not the best shooter in the world. He's not the best finisher, and he's not the best passer either. But he always seems to get it done. When it's crunch time, he's making the big plays. He's chucking the shot from behind his head that somehow gets called for a foul and goes in. Kyle Lowry is the guy doing that. Fred VanVleet, I think, is clutch. He's got the 3-point clutch badge on him, but really, I don't know that in crunch time they're going to be able to score. So what I'm going to be looking for is the under, but if we can get a really high scoring first quarter or first half. We saw this line open at 235, up to 236, then at 234.5, and then now 234, and we know that Kyle Lowry is out, so we're not sure how much that really affected the total at all. But now it's at 235, so perhaps actually Kyle Lowry being out affects the total in a negative way where it goes up, and we're expecting some less defense to be played.
Yeah.
230s are tough spreads. Those are high spreads, but in today's NBA, it's all overs right now. It's really, we had a stretch where unders were hitting at a pretty high clip, but right now it's all overs. And I think, you take the closing line from last game and it's right on the money. The game actually ended at 237 points, and I believe the closing total was 236, right? So that's right where we are again. When you have teams that just play the same game, essentially you're going to have pretty much the same line. So 124 to 113 as a final score. I wouldn't be surprised to see the Bucks flip it and have that score. So like I said, 235, it just feels right on the money. This is something that we are all going to be looking for, an updated line live. If we have a slow start, the Raptors aren't used to playing without Fred VanVleet, we're going to take the over. If the Raptors look great and, it looks like they haven't skipped a beat, we know that's not going to be the case. We'll be looking towards the under.
Yeah, I was also going to point out, if you're catching something I do really like, if you're catching Toronto Raptors under first quarter, 27.5, I think that where I'm seeing it, I think I would like that because they haven't played many games without Kyle Lowry this year, if any. And I think they're going to be a little slow out the gate. They're going to try to see something going. And if Fred VanVleet isn't hitting shots to start the game, I think that they're going to have a hard time finding where they can run that offense to, right? Giannis is obviously going to be guarding Pascal Siakam. So, Pascal won't have an amazing game. So that's something that I would be looking for if you're able to get it under 27.5 for Raptors first quarter points.
Yeah, and that 235, it's like you said, Max. I believe it's right on the money. And there's a number of things, a number of outcomes that could uh, come out through this game. And it's the Raptors could hit a lot of threes. The Bucks could hit a lot of threes. It just all depends on the clip they're hitting it at. And for that reason, and that reason almost alone, is why I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to have to see what's going on, what the game plan is, how they're going to assess Giannis. If they adjust, let's say they hop into that 2-3 early, those Toronto Raptors, and then the Milwaukee Bucks are hitting all their shots. They're not going to stay in it forever. Maybe they adjust. So it's going to be something that we all keep an eye on, that we're all going to be very aware of how things are feeling. Last time we had that play with Jimmy Butler, you could see Jimmy Butler was getting a bunch of looks that were very favorable, layups that Jimmy should have hit. So we're kind of into that. Let's look at the over range because Jimmy Butler was getting to his spots. We'll assess that once again. We'll see how the Raptors are moving without their point guard situation, and we'll see how the Milwaukee Bucks look shooting the ball.
Yeah, and let's talk about that Raptors offense real quick. I was looking for Pascal Siakam over the points, and before it was announced that Kyle Lowry was out, it was sitting at 21 and a half. Now we know Kyle Lowry is out, still 21 and a half. That's a little fishy to me. I was thinking that perhaps Kyle Lowry would be in, and I would take the over if it went down. But I was expecting if Kyle Lowry to be out, this number would go up, and it would be maybe a play actually on the under because they might have a difficult time. Too much pressure on Pascal Siakam in the offense. We've seen him go 6 for 18 before. We know he's very capable. If he gets too comfortable at the three-point line, he's not a great three-point shooter, but he tends to fall in love with the shot, especially if he can't get to the rim on a guy like Giannis. I know that Mike Budenholzer is probably going to try and keep Giannis out of foul trouble. So Pascal Siakam, I don't know if he's going to have the wherewithal to try and take Giannis to the rim. Challenging Giannis at the rim is not an easy task. It's not something that a lot of NBA players are going to do.
I wouldn't do it.
I would do it. And here's why: because you want to get Giannis into foul trouble.
You would get hurt.
I would probably break my knee like trying to get to the
spot.
spot.
You would probably tear something on the way to the rim.
Yeah, I like with Giannis on me. I think I'd probably draw a couple fouls though. It'd be a couple flops.
Yeah, if you can get to the free throw line, you won that match.
Right, and that's what you want to do if you're Pascal Siakam. But I think the books are very accurately putting a little bit of a cap on Siakam, where 21 and a half points, that's too high. I really, without Kyle Lowry to pace the offense, I think Pascal Siakam is way too inefficient, way too inconsistent for that to be a viable line.
He did have 23 last time they played 2 days ago on 8 of 23 shooting. So a terrible shooting night, but he did have 23. But like you said, I'm all aboard on the under as well because of just who Giannis is. I expect him to be I know he's going to have a lot on his shoulders, like to run that offense.
Right.
But I do expect him to be able to guard Pascal very well. And Pascal also played 39 minutes last game. I don't know if that's a lot, like in terms of what he averages, but I do feel like that's a lot of minutes. And guarding Giannis and being guarded by Giannis does take a toll on you during the game.
Yeah, and we've seen Pascal Siakam in the past. I know we specifically, us three, have seen Pascal Siakam in clutch moments. He looks very uncomfortable. He's not the player that is going to take this franchise to the next level. They need another piece beyond that. So I think we're going to see that in this game. It's going to reflect that. Siakam is going to have to fulfill that Giannis role on the Toronto Raptors. He's going to have to step up today. And what we've seen in the past is that he's kind of incapable of doing so. He gets a little shaky in those moments. Maybe he has a cool start. Maybe he looks pretty decent early on. But once even without fans, once the fourth quarter hits, you're going to see the nerves set in, and Giannis is going to look like the much far superior player. And I'm not really high on Giannis. You guys know that. I love skilled guys. I don't think Giannis is one of those guys who's one of the NBA's finest skilled players. He's not a Kyrie Irving. He's not a Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
But he will look leaps and bounds better than Siakam today.
Yeah, and again, this is why I just want to keep pointing out how high this line is, 52 and a half. Giannis can have an insane game and still not hit this 52 and a half. Really, you're talking about 35 points, 15 rebounds type of game for him to even 30 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists. That is one of the only stat lines that is really going to get him over. So it's a tough stat line to get.
To Fear the Deer in the chat, Bucks fan here recommend any props aside from the. I guess we'll recommend some Bucks props for him.
Yeah.
We just talked about the under in Giannis's total points, rebounds, assists. I think it's at 52.5, right?
Mhm.
Anything else? Do we?
The Dante
We're very high on him
DiVincenzo.
tonight.
So yeah, for Fear the Deer, if you are a Bucks fan, we're not low on the Bucks in general. I find that these prop lines are just way too high, especially given that we have a 7.5 point spread in some spots.
Yeah.
The one player, like I said, maybe you don't want to root against your Bucks, Fear the Deer, but the one player that we all are kind of in unison on the over would be Dante DiVincenzo. I personally think his points are the best play, 11.5. Frank pointed out that his assists at 3.5 is probably one of the other better plays that you can make. And quite frankly, I think the points, rebounds, assist number at 20 or 20.5 is not too high. So for a Bucks fan, Giannis's props, they're just too high. I don't think this is Chris Middleton's game. So if you do want to root for your Bucks aside of the spread, Dante DiVincenzo is the guy that you want.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be disappointed. I think you're actually going to be with us on this Dante DiVincenzo train. And I think if you truly are, the Bucks fan that you jack, then Dante DiVincenzo he's talented. He's not Steph Curry, but he's definitely he's a great role player. He's a starter, a caliber player, and he could eventually even fulfill whatever role Fred VanVleet plays. To me, they have fairly similar games from how they started on. It's just going to take confidence in games like today for him to solidify himself as a starting NBA point guard.
Yeah, I just think that Dante DiVincenzo is going to have the ball in his hands more than you would expect. Especially they've been playing without Drew Holiday and they haven't been winning. DiVincenzo is their best perimeter defender. DiVincenzo is probably their second best ball handler, aside from Holiday. Giannis can definitely facilitate a little bit, but we've seen him with that dribble where he takes 4 down the court. He can lose the ball. He's not a particularly great facilitator. And like we mentioned before, Bryn Forbes or Chris Middleton, these are not guys that you're going to really expect a lot of assists out of. And the last time when the Bucks played the Raptors, both of them had 0 assists, and DiVincenzo had 8. So I think this is a great opportunity to target DiVincenzo.
Mm-hmm.
And now, you want to say, you go quick because I have something to bring up.
No, go ahead.
I actually wanted to take this conversation to our favorite prop every time we do this.
Which one? We have 2.
Player to score the first field goal of the game. I know last week we rode all of Kelly Olynyk's player props as well as the first field goal of the game.
Yeah.
What are we thinking here, boys?
Man, this is tough.
I can't get
You want to go?
Get quite a grip on it.
I think it's the same formula that we spoke about with the last week. I think you have to look at the shooters on the court. I think you have to look at guys like Chris Middleton for an early 3. I think you have to look at guys like Dante DiVincenzo for an early 3 and guys like Brook Lopez. So what's the value that you have on those 3 guys?
Okay,
do you see? Because on DraftKings, I can't find.
Yeah, it's on DraftKings.
Refresh.
Brook Lopez at plus 800.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other guy's? Dante at plus 900, and the other guy that you mentioned, Chris Middleton at plus 550. So the odds are for Dante plus 900, Brook Lopez plus 800, and Chris Middleton plus 550. Obviously, you can get different numbers in different spots. You can shop around, but that's what I'm seeing right now.
So I think it's so safe to go with the pass out for Giannis early on and to try and get that early 3 that we talked about last time with the Heat, that if we're talking about value, I think you go Dante DiVincenzo at plus 900. And then I think if you want to be more modest and still get value, but you want to play a little bit safe, Chris Middleton at plus 550, I think is going to be a good take, because I think Chris Middleton is going to have to shoot the hell out of the ball today. And you're not high on his points because he's been streaky, but he's going to have to hit 1 3 eventually tonight. And what better 3 than the first one?
Yeah, I think teams just seem to be the first shot. They either want to go right to the rim with their big guy, or they're gonna try and get someone a quick three.
Yeah.
Starting a game with a 3-pointer, I just feels like, and this is not statistically backed up. This is just something that I've noticed. I feel like a lot of good teams, they love to try and get their shooters hot early.
Eyeball test.
Eyeball test can show you some things sometimes. I'm with you on the Chris Middleton. I think that Giannis is going to try and get to the rim on the first possession, and I think the Raptors, if they come out strong, they're going to come out strong on the defensive end. The Raptors are going to try and play defense as best they can.
Mhm.
If they can stop Giannis from getting to the rim, and Giannis at plus 350 is not good enough value. I wouldn't take that. But
No,
if,
not at all. For a first field goal, 350 is ridiculous.
it's no. But if you can get Chris Middleton, this is not too high either, but plus 550 is fair enough, I think, because you can definitely see a situation where Giannis tries to get to the rack, doesn't get there, kicks it out to Middleton, or you have a situation where they have a they have a late shot clock situation where someone's got to put up a long two, and Chris Middleton invented the long two in the modern NBA, so I would go that way.
I'm actually going a whole different route, right? So I'm going to give one for both teams. Now, this goes along with another player prop that I'm going to give out after I talk about the first field goal of the game. But Brook Lopez at plus 800.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some value there.
Yeah.
I do expect him to shoot some threes tonight, right? So I wouldn't mind like a quick pick and roll, pick and pop where he's at 3-point line where he loves to stay at.
Mm-hmm.
He basically lives there the past couple of years. Out of nowhere, he learned to shoot the three ball.
Yeah.
And Norman Powell on the Toronto Raptors side at plus 1,000, and I'll tell you exactly why. Right, Norman Powell isn't a big scorer. He doesn't shoot the three that well, but I expect with Kyle Lowry to be out, someone is supposed to lead the charge. And we talked about Pascal Siakam being guarded by Giannis, so I rule him out. Fred VanVleet can easily, with Drew Holiday out, can easily go off, whatever it is, shoot some threes, whatever it is. But if, say, he doesn't get it going from the start, I think Norman Powell can get the chance, and he can prove it to us with the first field goal of the game at plus 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
I like Norman Powell. The guy that I want to look towards on this Raptors team is OG Anunoby. Not really for this first field goal prop, but just in general, where I think he's a good player. He's proven that he's a good shooter. He's proven that he's a tough defender. And what that does for you in the NBA is get you minutes. When you have minutes, when you're on the floor, you are going to get opportunity. OG Anunoby's points, rebounds, and assists is at 19.5. I took it earlier when it was minus 110. It has now been juiced to minus 135 as we approach game time. So I still like it. 135, is probably the edge of value, but at least you're not getting a 20.5. And for some reason, props, you never see an even number. So there's no pushes on player props for the most part. So Anunoby over 19.5. DraftKings, I'm seeing at 134. But if you look around the market, you'll probably not have to pay that much juice. So that's a play that I like a lot. Anunoby, I expect to score between 13 and 14 points, and he's going to get his rebounds today. Without Lowry out there, they are going to need to crash the offensive boards, but they're also going to need guys that are going to be out there getting rebounds. And Anunoby playing a lot of the four now, where they bring in Bembry, but he's he's going to be playing a lot of the three with Pascal Siakam, who is not a great rebounder in my opinion, playing the five. They're gonna lean on Anunoby a little bit.
I really do like that play by you, Ensar, with the Brook Lopez first field goal, which is a D-gen play, but I like it just because of the value. But the only reason I will lean a little bit more towards Chris Middleton is because the Bucks did just lose to the Raptors, and I think you want to start off as well as you can, and you want to trust your number one shooter, which is going to be Chris Middleton.
Yep.
This happened with the Heat game when we were so high on Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk did see a good look, but it came after an offensive rebound, which was taken by, I believe, Duncan Robinson, who I think is a more trusted player on that roster. So I'm trying to learn from my mistakes, trying to see that this team, the Miami Heat, had a little bit more faith in Duncan Robinson, felt like they wanted to allow him to take the first shot. And this Bucks team is very, very reliant on Chris Middleton in his shooting. So that's why I like Chris Middleton.
Fair enough. 3-point shooter said, I bet the over 52.5 for Giannis, but not listen to you guys. I know I made a mistake. How do I hedge? I don't necessarily think you need to hedge that, but actually what we talked about earlier is one of the best hedges against that is taking Giannis's assist number. We like it at 7.5 because in order for Giannis to get over this 52.5, you either need him to have some sort of 35 or 40-point game, or a big game where a big triple-double comes in where he's getting over 30 points, over 10 rebounds, which is definitely doable. But realistically, what we're looking for is the assist to get over 10. So if you like, and you can get plus money on over 7.5 for his assists, I think that's the best way to hedge to 52.5. And really, in the worst case, you can get both.
And there was I mentioned when I was going over the first field goal props, and I said I do have a play for Brook Lopez, and I'd said he's going to shoot a bunch of threes tonight, maybe not a bunch, but a couple. I like over 1.5 threes at plus 105, where I'm seeing it at, right? And I'll tell you why exactly. He is shooting a little bit over 1.5 threes per game, 1.6 to be exact, and he's taking a little over 4.5 threes per game at 4.6, shooting at a close to 36%, right? And I just expect Brook Lopez to get some open pick and pops, right? Pascal Siakam is a good interior defender. I don't really think he's a great defender when it comes to
In the perimeter.
Yeah, exactly, and especially with the pick and roll going on. And Brook Lopez, like I said, he's been living on the 3-point line the past couple of years, and I expect him to make at least 2 tonight.
Yeah, 1.5 is not a bad number. I feel like he gets over 1.5 in about half of his games.
Yeah.
So
the plus money, give it to me. Right?
Exactly. When you, like I said, this is
There's
what we're
value.
looking for, a plus expected value play. When you have a 50-50 shot, but you're getting plus money for it, you might as well take it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so one of our other favorite props that we play, but this is a game that you cannot bet on. This is something we do by ourselves. Is when is TNT going to actually put on the basketball game?
It's pretty late.
Last week was 7:50. The week before that was more like 7:37 or so. So we set the line as usual for 7:45, and you guys can write in the chat if you think over 7:45 the game starts, or under, meaning that you need something in the next couple minutes.
I'm taking slightly under.
Slightly under. You think this game is getting started?
Slightly under 7:45. In the next 6 minutes, next 5 minutes, that this game will start. And I'm just hoping to God that they take the camera off Chuck's face and put it on the court where they're ready for tip-off.
Man, and Chuck is betting on these games too.
Chuck is a degenerate gambler. That's what you get for hanging out with Michael Jordan a lot, you know?
Do not listen to Chuck. Haven't watched a Bucks game this year, but the way you guys talk about Dante, let's go. Hooch, I hope you're a Paisan as well, because we always root for Dante DiVincenzo.
That's our guy, man. Tonight, that's our guy.
Yeah, tonight that's our guy. And I agree with Ensar. I got the under 2 at 7:45. I think these guys are gonna, they're chopping it up, but they're gonna get into it a little bit quickly. And last week we saw the game kind of just teleported into game time. It was like 1 minute it was Shaq and hey,
exactly.
they're playing, so I think they're gonna stick to it. You gotta think about these things rationally. There has to be a reason, right? So I think they yelled at them last time. They're like, "Hey, you guys taking too long.
This is not right.
This is not right. Let's get into the games."
Was it down in Houston last time?
It was.
That's why. Everything's slower in Texas.
Yeah.
But
Houston, we got a problem. That was a dad joke.
Wow.
That was such a dad joke.
Before this game does get kicked off, we do want to give out our official picks. So if you guys have any last-minute bets that you can make, and sorry, you can go first. What do you got officially on this game?
All right, officially, I have the Bucks -6. Got it a little earlier today before the Kyle Lowry news. I got under Pascal Siakam points. What was it? 21.5. And I also have the over in Brook Lopez 3-pointers, 1.5 at plus 105.
Frank, you got anything official for the show?
Yes, sir. I have, we're riding with Dante today. I have Dante on the over 11.5 points. I have Dante over the 3.5 assists. I have Giannis as well with the under on the points, rebounds, and assists. Um, and I have Dante DiVincenzo and Chris Middleton for the first field goal.
Dante to the moon.
Dante
Dante to the moon.
And then for me, I do have the Giannis under 52.5 points, rebounds, and assists. I also have Chris Middleton under 34.5 points, rebounds, assists. I have the OG Anunoby over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists. And I think I got to ride the Dante DiVincenzo over 11.5 points as well.
Sounds like a winning day to me.
Sounds like a winning day. Before we get started, though, last minute, Ensar, we know that you have the Bucks at -6. At 7.5, where the line is now, some spots have 7. Would you take something on the Bucks, or you want to wait until game time?
I would wait till game time. Even though, oh, excuse me, I forgot one play. I have under 28.5 for Toronto Raptors points in the first quarter. So I do, even though I won't take something right now at 7.5 because you don't know what to expect, maybe they surprise you, or they surprise me at least, and they come out and they play and they get things going without Kyle Lowry. But that's not what I expect, at least. So I do expect them to have a slow start and not score as many points on the Bucks as they did last game, where they had 33 on them in the first quarter.
That's a fair way to put it. And I think first quarter bets are a market that is pretty untapped. So you have a lot of opportunity to.
I'm tapping it. I'm tapping it good.
And we do want to invite everyone. Remember, if you have just joined the stream, those are our official plays. But something that you want to be looking for is the chat. Make sure you guys sign in and get on so you can talk with us, ask questions like everybody else. Actually, before I go into our sponsor read, 3-point Shoot is asking Frank by name. Who do you take for the first point scored again?
Listen, Dante DiVincenzo to the moon, but Chris Middleton is my safe play. I think Chris Middleton is going to have a good shot.
Your safe play for your
Your
DGen
safe play for the most DGen play there is,
my
guys. Do
safe-
not wager the bankroll on this, but we're going to sweat it.
4
A lot.
units, 4 units.
A couple of people in the chat like the over.
Mm-hmm.
We have Apollo Sharp. Over looks scrumptious. I love that word. And Hooch, hammer the over.
I think
don't
they're talking
know.
about the over 745 because it's 744.
Okay. That I can deal with. I was thinking over 235 and 234 and a half, whatever it is. 'Cause that's a large number.
Yeah, if you missed it earlier, we were talking about the total, and we're gonna kind of wait on this one. If we have a slow quarter like NSAR is projecting, we'll jump in on the over, and if we have a really high pace quarter, we'll probably take some action on the under because 235 seems to be right on the money.
Yep.
Yeah, and it looks like TNT has no interest in starting this game anytime soon. So
Don't like me.
the over is locked in.
Well, you know what? All that does is give you more time to sign up for our new favorite way to play DFS without the salaries that you see on other sites. Monkey Knife Fight combines fantasy and player props. You just need to decide if Giannis will have over 31.5 points or if Pascal Siakam will have over or under 21.5 points. Sign up today using our code watchbetlive.com. Get a free $5 instantly and a $50 deposit match. The best part about Monkey Knife Fight is that you can essentially parlay your player props for a higher multiplier. If you do like the under for Giannis like we do and the under for Pascal Siakam, if you do it on one of your regular books, you'll be paid out 2.5 times on that multiplier. But if you play it at Monkey Knife Fight, you will get a 3 to 3.5 times multiplier. You will have a great opportunity to make a simple parlay that is much better than anywhere else. Use our code watchbetlive.com. Monkey Knife Fight, the new best way to play DFS.
Yeah, and I say this all the time. It's beautiful. It's very pretty. It's very cartoony. It's nice for the gen brain. And I think
It's pretty on the eye.
Yeah, it's pretty on the eye. A lot of work has gone into it. You can tell it's a very quality product.
We like it. We use it for our player props, and make sure you guys take a look at that as well. We have a couple of minutes before game time. It appears. Obviously, when the tip comes, we'll be sweating our first player to score prop. You guys can use this time to ask us any last minute questions, but we do we will bring up a couple other games on tonight's slate because obviously all attention's on this one, but we got some 10 o'clock games coming up. What do you guys think about this Lakers and Brooklyn Nets matchup?
Frank, I feel like you have more in-depth thoughts than I do.
Look, they get Kyrie back today, right? Which is crazy because we were just looking at James Harden, LeBron James 1v1 basically. And I think that actually the Nets are going to surprise some people today. I think they come out with a W. And it's I
don't hate it.
I do believe that the Lakers are the better team. I just think that this Nets team is very determined, and this would be a perfect moment for them to solidify themselves as one of the title contenders, and seriously raise some eyebrows at wow. Now we have Kyrie Irving and James Harden who look really really good together against LeBron James. We're gonna add KD to the mix.
No KD.
No, I'm saying with the future, right. Is that after this game is that the team looked good, right? We're gonna add KD to this team. We're gonna add AD to the Lakers, and now we have a serious conversation as to who wins that finals matchup.
Yeah, I think the Brooklyn Nets are not going to get to the final. I think they get stopped somewhere along the line, but we'll see. These are the two teams that would likely have to do it, them and the Boston Celtics. So in this game, we might get a good idea of how teams are going to stop star players. I love the over for Kyrie Irving's points tonight. I think especially going against LeBron, he's going to show up and show out. He's going to have Dennis Schroeder guarding him, who is not an elite defender. Alex Caruso is not an elite defender either. So I think that Kyrie Irving over, I believe it's 26.5 points, I think is a good look for us tonight. And on the side, I don't know. The Lakers, I believe they deserve to be favorites, but the way the Brooklyn Nets have been playing these last couple games, James Harden is really showing up and showing out. I think it's tough to make a call on the side. So I'd likely avoid that, but I think Kyrie Irving has a good game.
Yeah, and I think James Harden as well has a good game. James Harden's been playing, you guys saw with the game-sealing shot last game to put them ahead, that he's feeling good, he's feeling in rhythm. And I think that's always what James Harden needs is a rhythm. He's no longer playing in that iso ball vibe, and I do think that Kyrie Irving saying that he wants to play the two and allow James Harden to play the point is going to suit this team very well. I think Kyrie Irving is a two guard. I always say that he's Kobe Bryant, but in a smaller body. Doesn't have the defense, but offensively, it's the same talent in my eyes. They have the difficult shot-making ability, the ability to put pressure on you no matter where they are on the court. So I think you're going to see a much healthier-looking Brooklyn Nets team than you've seen previously.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem with the Nets is the defense. And surprisingly, Kevin Durant is one of their best defenders. So without some moves being made in the next couple weeks, the Nets defensively are just really, really weak. And it's tough to say if they're going to be able to guard LeBron. But the way that the Lakers are, the way the Lakers play is they live and breathe off of LeBron's energy. If LeBron decides that they're going to win the game, they're going to win the game. If LeBron is kind of iffy on if they're going to win the game or not, without Anthony Davis, the Lakers will not win. That's what makes it tough to bet on Lakers games, in my opinion, because you gotta look for what LeBron's energy is like, and in the regular season, it's often not the same as the playoffs. So I would kind of avoid taking the Lakers right now, especially against a Brooklyn Nets team, which even if they're down 20, we saw it. They'll turn up and score 130 points in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, and you touched on not really picking a side in this one, but you also talked about LeBron James. If he decides to win this game, it's going to happen. I think LeBron James is trying to win this game, and that's why in that situation I like the over of points, rebounds, assists, 48.5. Might be a little high, but I could definitely see a 30-point triple-double out of LeBron today.
Absolutely, and we're getting ready for the tip-off at about 7:51, so the over cashes, and for a second...
By a big margin, too.
For a second, I thought Bryn Forbes was jumping, but that was...
How do you feel about these blue jerseys?
I don't like them. I don't like them at all. I don't know why. The NBA this year has done such a poor job with the new jerseys. I know that they've been wearing this blue for a couple of years, but I feel like the NBA has been really, really just trying too much with these jerseys.
And who gets the ball to start the offense instantly? It's Dante DiVincenzo who scores the first bucket.
Dante DiVincenzo, baby.
Who scores the first bucket. Let's go. Let's go at plus 900. You got Dante DiVincenzo, first bucket.
You heard it here first.
Man,
And you probably only heard it here.
and that's
3-point
why
shooter.
that's
I
why
told
they
you, baby.
asked for Frank by name.
Yes, sir.
Frank, who's gonna score the first point of the game? Sometimes he's fade Frank, but tonight it's follow Frank.
Still 0-0 on the score.
Wait, what? Did he miss that?
No, he made it. I don't know what's going on, but it was a buck.
Was it a bucket?
No, yeah, it was a bucket. The TNT is a little bit delayed. I'm sure most of you guys see it already, but some things are not quite there.
And we see right away Fred VanVleet taking the charge and getting to the foul line. So it's very important for this Raptors team to get Fred going.
Yeah, and that's gonna, like you said, it's gonna get him going. It's gonna get him more comfortable in seeing the ball fall into the basket. He's gonna come off those screens and air the ball out. So looking good for anybody who is on Fred VanVleet today. Gets 2 to go, nice.
And there's problems at TNT right now.
Yeah, they just took the score down, so we'll see if that comes back in the next couple minutes.
See Dante handling the ball. It's a very good start for us. A lot of
Yes.
pick and pops. See Brooke in the corner. Chris Middleton taking a
Air ball.
crazy
Crazy
Oh,
shot.
Bryn doesn't know it was an air ball. Oh, there it is. So immediately, my first thing, my first point is that I think the Bucks look a little disorganized. I know it's just one play, but it feels like the first one was a broken play, and now this next one has really just been kind of all over the place. I've been looking to see if the Bucks clean up shop in the next couple minutes. Otherwise, these live lines might come out a little bit short.
Yep. That definitely hit the rim though. There was some redirection.
Well,
From what I'm seeing, I don't know if I'm blind, but
what we're seeing is that Chris Middleton is getting the green light, and he's missing everything.
100%.
And he's not even coming close. So, analysis on Fleek so far. We got Chris Middleton not looking the hottest. Bucks offense not looking the hottest. That's why we stayed away from that 235 Bucks, a 235 total, because we just got to see what's going on.
100%, yeah.
And you see that double of Siakam, OG Anunoby.
Oh, and that's an assist.
That's an assist for Dante.
And we're already getting there, baby. We told you, Dante's going to have a night.
Look, Fred VanVleet still attacking the basket.
And so immediately, we see a couple
Wow.
fouls by this Bucks side, and that's not good for any kind of under, because I know, fouling not only does it stop the clock, but also it gets their best defenders in trouble. Chris Middleton, I wouldn't say is one of their better, one of their best defenders, but is certainly capable out there on the perimeter, and you don't want to see him get into foul trouble, especially if he's guarding Pascal Siakam right now.
Definitely a confidence boost for Pascal when he gets the 3-point play going on early in the game.
Yeah, especially in the way that he got it, when it bounces around and it's
that shooter's touch kind of,
it's that shooter's touch kind of. I thought we just saw another Dante assist, but
we do see him running the ball up the court and leading this offense. It looks like it's running through him, which is kind of crazy because we all expect it to run through Giannis and Dante, have his little moments here and there. But right now it's looking like the Bucks offense is running through Dante.
Well, this is we did kind of talk about it a little bit, where we were saying that they are going to look to get him going early, because without Drew Holiday there, Dante DiVincenzo is probably their best ball handler. We know that Giannis can be a playmaker at times, but DiVincenzo is probably their best facilitator. And you see Giannis have 2 early assists, and obviously we were on that under 52.5 because we thought it was too high for points, rebounds, and assists, but the over for the assist was our hedge on that play, and obviously, looking all right so far.
And Brian Forbes looks like he also has the green light, not hesitating at all. You saw him warm up after the whistle and take a nice little 3, and then a nice corner 3, instant shot. So you could see that he's feeling it. He knows he has the green light. And then you saw Fred VanVleet on the other side of the ball as Dante DiVincenzo takes him to the rack. You see Fred VanVleet was very hesitant in shooting the 3 ball. So maybe this is a situation where you're not so happy with Fred, because he does look a little shook.
Yeah, and this is a quick little back and forth here where we're looking at both these teams. They're not really interested in playing a lot of defense. The live line for the over is about 239.5, so not too much value for us there yet. But they're not looking like they want to play any defense.
Yeah, wow. They're actually scoring quite a bit to start this game.
And what did I tell you? That Brian Forbes has the green light, and he catches the ball, instantly gets shot up. And this is crazy to say, but he reminds me a lot of Steph without all the ball handling.
Maybe Seth.
IQ. No, Steph. In his ability to shoot the ball and how quick his release is, how his release looks. And he's also, a short little light-skinned brother. So, but you could see with the way he releases the ball and his shot timing and confidence when shooting the ball. It's a little Steph-esque. Now, Steph has everything else. He has, he's one of the greatest point guards of all time, but I'm sure some of you guys understand what I'm saying.
I don't know about that. I don't know if anyone's going to understand that, right?
From fear the deer, Pascal is going to put a lot of pressure on the Bucks tonight. It's looking like it right now.
We do not, we would definitely agree that he's going to shoot upwards of 15 to 20 shots.
Yeah.
Is he going to make a lot of them? I don't know. I do still like the under, but I think pressure is the right word because he's going to get to the rim. He's going to shoot his shots. I don't know. He's going to make a lot of them, though.
But something you do see with that Brian Forbes shot is no hesitation. You're going to see that throughout the rest of the game, and it was honestly something that I looked for before the game even started was how was Brian Forbes going to come out today, and you see he's coming out, he's firing. We're going to see that from a bunch of the other guys. They're not hesitating to shoot the three ball. If the ball gets placed into Brook Lopez's hands, I guarantee you it comes out. Dante DiVincenzo, the same thing.
Yeah, I think this is a game where a lot of players are going to be shoot at will kind of thing, especially on the Raptors side with Kyle Lowry being out. He basically runs that offense, even though he's not a offensive base point guard, so to say.
Right. Well, that's what we were talking about before with Lowry. He's not the best at, quite frankly, anything.
Yeah.
But he just finds a way to make the right play at the right time. And they got two guards like that in Van Vliet. I do think Van Vliet is a pretty solid shooter. But both those guys, they kind of play that role of glue guys, but almost star player-esque glue guys.
I think they not counteract, but they fit together really well.
Right. They can both do the same thing. They can both play off the ball and shoot the corner three.
Yeah.
And they can both take the pull-up three if necessary.
And Brian Forbes automatically shooting the ball. I'm telling you saw it off the first shot. You can see it in his eyes that he wants to let that thing fly. So
yeah. It's definitely going to be really interesting to see if they're going to keep this pace going. Because 2 minutes ago, I'm pretty sure, maybe around the 9-minute mark, they had the same amount of points. They kind of slowed down right now. They're still shooting a bunch, and they stopped attacking the rim, so to say. But I'm really interested to see if they keep shooting, are they going to make these shots?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
I'm interested to see, if we can kind of get this low-scoring quarter to continue. Ensar, if you're able to hit your under first quarter for the Raptors prop, if we'll have a good opportunity to take the live total over.
Yeah.
I think if this keeps up, we're looking at a Bucks blowout. That same 20-point blowout that you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
And you see Giannis gets the ball in the paint. He has that little mismatch that he loves and immediately dishes out. So it's exactly what we were talking about.
It was also
before.
a quadruple team. Right?
It was 1-1. He's getting the ball and he's dishing it out. He sees the defensive presence collapsing on him. He knows what the game plan is, and Dante gets an open three. Now, Van Vliet shoots this ball, but plays prior to this, he's showing me that he's very shook, that he doesn't want to handle the ball.
It looks pass first.
He's pass first. He's letting Siakam kind of take the shots, throw him up, and that's not what you want to do if you're the Toronto Raptors.
Yeah, but I think also he's the point guard now. Usually, ever since he became a starter, he's been playing the two guard. He's the point guard now. I think he's going to have to play that role a little bit, and he's a good shooter. You're gonna see him knock down a couple shots sooner or later.
Mm-hmm.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah.
But yeah, so 12 to 13, almost halfway through. It's a pretty interesting pace where we really can't say that it's much off the 235, even though in the first couple minutes it seemed like they were scoring at will.
Oof.
And what about Brook Lopez, man? How he evolved his game. That's so crazy, no?
Yeah, I was speaking about that. He basically, the past couple of years, became a three-point shooter. kind of out of nowhere. I don't know if he realized what the NBA was becoming,
Mhm.
and he wanted to fit the Bucks offense a little better. Realized Giannis can take care of crashing the boards and whatever that is, but I don't know. That's another reason why I took the over 1.5 threes for him. We just saw him took a three. Unfortunately, it did not go in, but at least he's taking them. If you're taking them, eventually he's probably gonna make one, unless he goes 0-4. And that's also an unfortunate timing
Possibility,
thing. Yeah,
right?
exactly. But I'm expecting him not to go 0-4. I expect him to keep shooting them threes and hopefully make at least two.
I think it was a mixture of both. He really didn't. I think he realized that where the league was going, as well as he was one of those guys who, much like his brother Robin, was banging in the paint.
Exactly. Yeah.
Deteriorating his body. Kind of wanted to preserve himself as well as his career in expanding that game to the three ball. So I think it was a little bit of a mixture. Why do I want to be this 20, 15, and 10 guy, whatever he was in Brooklyn, and I could just sit in a corner and make the same amount of money? And I
It's
think
true.
He might be even more worthwhile for you to sign if a big man can possibly still crash the boards, but can also come out of the 3-point line and hit a shot.
Well, that's the thing about Brooke Lopez. Being the resident Nets fan here, Brooke Lopez was never a good.
You know him better than all of us.
Never a good interior defender. Never a good rebounder. There were times when Mason Plumlee first came up, we would play Mason Plumlee over him in a lot of situations because Brooke Lopez couldn't get a board. He would, he was 7'3", and he would average, he's 7 foot tall, but
Yeah.
he would average maybe 8 boards, 7 boards, and we had Mason Plumlee getting a double off the bench. So I think it's definitely a situation for Brooke Lopez where he's kind of reinvented himself and in something that's actually sustainable.
Keeping it in house with this Raptors team. I have a question going into the past on who you think the greatest Raptor of all time is.
That's a tough. So it's.
I feel like it's got to be between two obvious people, but then again, you can also bring in the person that led them to their only
I think
championship.
there's 3 options.
Oh, I would say that there's 4. But
I think.
Oh, I know the fourth you're thinking about. Let's
I-
say some names here at least. Come on.
All right.
My fourth, which I eliminated, is DeMar DeRozan. I don't think he's the greatest.
Oh, that's
Raptor of all
no.
time.
Chris Bosh.
Chris
Oh, you're talking about
Bosh.
Chris
Chris
Bosh.
Bosh,
I'm
yeah.
not talking about Chris Bosh. My top 3.
I think you put Kawhi over Chris Bosh though.
100%.
Even though 1 year.
1 year though.
He
I
won a
know,
ring.
but he won a ring.
Well,
he won that ring,
no one else did.
Kyle Lowry,
even with the Drake curse.
even with the Drakers.
Well, the Drake curse is on the team now.
100%. All right, so go back to what you were saying. Sorry,
So, do you want me to go in order or just drop them?
just drop him.
All right. So, VC,
Obviously.
Kyle Lowry, Kawhi Leonard.
Oh, that's an interesting
I
conversation.
think you were talking about T Mac.
Yeah, that's
You're
what I
talking
was.
about
I
T-Mac?
was
I thought
gonna say.
VC T Mac Kawhi.
I was
Jack
gonna
and T-Mac.
say Vince Carter, Chris Bosh, T Mac, then Kawhi, then Kyle Lowry.
Yeah,
He had his heyday really with the Raptors necessarily. He never made the All-Star team as a Raptor. He obviously came up with them, but realistically, he was never that great on the Raptors. I don't actually. You know what? Tracy McGrady is not even an all-time Raptor. Now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
he's an all-time player, but he's not an all-time Raptor.
I think if you want to go towards, if you like chips and all that, you have to say Kawhi, because what's the point of playing the sport if you're not winning, right?
But the GOAT,
But
though,
then
the
again,
greatest Raptor of all
but then
time?
again, if you want to put the Raptors on the map, you got to say VC.
Yeah,
VC
I
made
think
the Raptors.
VC's got to be the greatest Raptor of all time.
Are you sure about that? Because Kyle Lowry has, real quick, Kyle Lowry has some of the glory that Vince Carter has. He leads them in a lot of categories, and he also has a chip as well. Don't forget that.
Kyle Lowry is definitely top 5 in the very short history of the Raptors. But looking back at the score right here, we see Giannis at the line again, missing free throws left and right.
What do you
Giannis.
expect from this man? He is # not my MVP. right? If you can't make free throws, how are you supposed to lead a team to a championship? They are called free throws.
Oh my God!
Come
Look at-
on,
Did you
man.
see how short he went on the second
He
one?
either goes short or very long, very hard, or he airballs. Once in a while he airballs, and it's not really once in a while. It's many more times that you don't want to see.
The guy can't shoot. You see how they play him sometimes, and especially when it's playoff time. This is why the Bucks are not, a perennial contender, even though they appear to be on paper.
Thank God he makes me.
He can't score in the playoffs as efficiently. He's got to go to the rack where he's not going to get fouled 10 times a game like he does in the regular season. It's going to be a lot more difficult.
And this is why he's trying to improve his outside shooting game, because he knows most of his game is towards the rack, and if he gets fouled, he's like probably making one of two. He most likely missed both. Right?
It's just like college where you're, oh well, at least he got one. That's not what we're looking for. As
Brook Lopez
over.
stutter step, jab. He makes one of my 2 threes that I need him to make.
That's another good sign for you because he wanted to shoot that three from the moment he got it.
Yeah,
he saw you had Van Vliet on him, and
yeah.
a couple of years ago he's gonna back Van Vliet all the way down from the 3-point line. But nowadays Brook Lopez is pulling up and shooting that one.
We see
bro.
Giannis doing that.
The longest two of all time.
Yeah, also maybe the slowest dribble.
Yeah, that was
a
Chris Middleton shot right there.
And we got the Raptors guarding each other.
Yeah, they don't know where to go right now on the floor. And I think of the Bucks team that my under can look okay for this first quarter. And Giannis just got. That's why he's not my MVP, man.
That was Van Vliet.
I know he's not my MVP.
Giannis just got hoed like he's a little boy by Fred Van Vliet, who I don't even know is taller than Christian.
he's for those of you who are asking what does that mean, no, he is not taller than Christian, or one of our guys on the team here. Looking at these lines, right, you're seeing the Bucks, it's basically the same. 235.5 is a lot. Same thing as before the game, even though the Bucks are playing pretty poorly. So not enough for me to really take a look at the Raptors. I got to be getting at least 10 points before I bet the Raptors, to be honest. I'd be looking for some Bucks action lower than the pregame bet, obviously.
Yeah, and I agree with you in that you have to get at least 10 points because you've seen there's a certain level of dominance that this Bucks team is having. And I think what you're seeing on the Raptors side of the ball is kind of accidental buckets. It's things that don't look very like it was intentional.
Yeah. It's like the shot clock is running out and they somehow make a shot at the end of the shot clock.
Exactly, and a few free throws here and there have kind of bailed them out.
Definitely.
So if we're just speaking on actual game time, I think the Bucks are looking pretty dominant, and their play exceeds a 3.0 point lead.
Look, that was a shot by Norman Powell at the end of the shot clock where he was guarded heavily that you don't expect him to make every time.
Mhm.
So if I'm the Bucks, I'm living with that. But if I'm the Raptors, I'm a little scared right now because even though the game is tied 21-21, it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah.
They're not doing too much on offense, and they just made me eat my words. They go to the rack, but that's something they should be doing more often. Get those free throws, get those fouls, and try to attack the basket instead of waiting the shot clock down and shooting some heavily guarded threes that you could possibly make.
Mm-hmm. And Chris Middleton actually looks garbage in this game. And I think this might be, I'm not going to define somebody's whole career one game, but we're seeing him regress as a player. Definitely a lock for the All-Star game a couple years ago. The next year after that, you kind of get that veteran lock for, hey, he's a guy who's been here before. We'll put him in again. I think now there's a bunch of guys who are more talented than him in the East. And although I do believe he's still going to be an All-Star, You may not see that next year.
I'm going to need a miracle for this under to hit
Yeah, and
28 and a half.
I don't think you're gonna get that. And
Which is crazy because they did make some crazy ass shots at the end of the shot clock where usually that doesn't happen. Bucks playing good defense and things like that happen.
Hmm. And I think the Bucks fell victim to Giannis the past couple of plays, where Giannis sometimes thinks that he's better than he is. Shooting that long two probably made him feel himself. Then a nice little hezzy to the rack had him playing outside of his character. He comes in, pulls up a three, gives the Raptors some momentum. We're gonna see some adjustments right now.
Definitely.
yeah, and it's interesting that these lines are pretty stagnant as what we're looking at. I haven't seen much aside from what the game originally was. So I'm curious to see if we get a little bit of a run to end this quarter, if we can get some action on these live lines, because essentially these are the same exact lines that we've been seeing for the last half an hour.
Yeah, I would definitely like a Bucks run and something to do with stopping the Raptors from scoring. Definitely help my 6.5 for the Bucks as well as the under first quarter points for the Raptors.
Hmm. And all right, so let's get back to that Raptors conversation. You don't want to get back to that Raptors conversation?
No, I think what we could talk about real quick is one of the other games on the slate tonight.
Okay,
The
cool.
Miami Heat and the Sacramento Kings as playing as well. Miami, just an absolute meltdown last night. I don't know if you guys caught the game at all, but they were up by, I believe, 20 points.
19.
19 points. They were in crunch time. They were up 99 to 94. They had plenty of opportunity to win the game. They blow it in overtime to Golden State. They're playing Sacramento tonight, and Sacramento's moved to a 1-point favorite. How do you guys feel about that game?
With the Miami Heat in Sacramento?
Yep.
Well, I think the Miami Heat have fallen apart. This is the finals team from last year, and that goes just to tell you how much they outperformed themselves.
Oh man, I have a problem with that, but it's fine.
With what?
It is a fact. It is a fact, but I'm gonna speak up on it real quick. I'm gonna let you talk first.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead. So I do think that the Heat are better than what their record says. It's similar to how the Toronto Raptors started. That there's going to be something that they have to do to get better. But for anybody who has the over on Knicks mentions, I do believe that the New York Knicks are a better basketball team than the defending Eastern Conference champions, the Miami Heat. How do you feel about that, Ansar?
Okay, look, I have a bunch of things to say about the Miami Heat, and a bunch of it is not backed by numbers. I'm gonna tell you that straight off, straight eyeballs, all that is, right? So, look, hear me out. I don't think Miami Heat is a good team.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're a playoff team, but I don't think that means you're a good team in the East. I think you can catch that 7, 8, even possibly a 6 seed without being a great team. I don't believe in Jimmy Butler. I don't believe in Jimmy Butler being the top player on a championship team. I do think he's a good player. I just don't think he can, I wouldn't say lead a team, because he definitely has the verbal leadership, the locker room leadership, but I don't think that he's able to score at will. I know that his game shows a lot more than the numbers show. I just don't think that Jimmy Butler can lead a team, especially like this Miami Heat team with no stars outside of him. And I do like the Sacramento Kings tonight. The line moved from what I saw from +1 to -1.
Yep.
In the Kings' favor, obviously. And I just don't think that this. Also, what I was meaning to say about you saying that the NBA Finals team, I think in any other world that we had in 2020, this team would have lost in the second round. I think that those what was it, 6 month span, 5 month span that they had, something had to click with them. Other teams had to lower their play, and this team somehow
Elevated.
they elevated their play and somehow made it in a bubble, in a bubble season that I don't even think it's real. Like yes, LeBron won a chip. You could take that into your Jordan LeBron bullshit argument, but I don't. The chip is real. I just don't like it's on the bottom.
The stats are tough to go by.
100%. Just look at the overs and the chip of LeBron's stash or whatever it is, it's on the bottom of the chips that he won. The bubble season is something that I forget. I don't even want to think about. I don't even think it was a real season.
So, in my opinion, I think the Celtics should have been there in the championship.
They weren't though. I mean, you have to take into account they weren't, but it is what it is.
They probably will be there this year.
All right, so going back to this game, we're seeing the Raptors really start to play well, but these live lines again, they're pretty close. The books and us as well, we're not seeing much to change course. I think you're seeing a little juice on that 6.5. I got a book open with 6.5 minus 140, plus 6.5 at minus 140 for the Raptors. So a little bit of juice movement there. If you liked Ensar's original minus 6 bet, you could take it again, but now for plus money. I'm gonna wait on this.
I would wait as well.
But like I said, if you wanted to get in at that 6 price and you missed it, well, you have an opportunity at plus money.
Every time Chris Middleton touches the ball, something bad is happening. I don't know if you guys noticed that. You've seen that with the jump ball.
Is that Torrey Craig out there now?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that guy.
I haven't heard his name in a while.
Yeah, he was on Denver last year. I think he's been out with an injury.
He was. I never remember that actually. But yeah. So I'm hoping, praying to God right now. Minute and a half left. The Raptors don't score another point. If you had that under 20 and a half, and the last 2 possessions they turn over the ball, and the Bucks turn it right over back. So and that looked good. Yep. So and I mentioned it in the pregame. Norman Powell, he could step on this game. He's gonna have more minutes because of the Kyle Lowry injury, and we see it right now. He made two threes the past 2 possessions. So we're gonna monitor that.
Norman Powell has 15 points, by the way.
15 points.
Yep.
That was a lot more points than I saw.
Three of 3 from 3-point land. 15 points now. 2 free throws as well.
Wow.
He's perfect
Okay.
from the field.
Accounting for half of the Raptors' points.
Yeah. So I have him to blame.
I don't think this continues. I think that the Bucks claw their way back.
Yeah, you gotta have a situation where the Bucks are able to start to put things together here. And
What are you seeing at the live line at?
I'm seeing it down right now, actually. So
okay. Down 7 with 38 seconds to go.
Right now, I refreshed the page and everything. I have still the Milwaukee Bucks at minus 7.
Yeah, that has to not be updated. So we'll see.
I just saw minus 3 for Milwaukee pop up, and it's gone already. If you were able to catch that 3, I like Milwaukee to come back in this game at minus 3, but I believe we missed the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see how this first quarter ends, and when they bring the line back up during commercial time, if it is an opportunity for us to jump in. And honestly, we see the Raptors either making a highly contested shot or basically turning the ball over / airballing it, which is kind of crazy to say, but it's exactly what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and they're 4 for 6 from 3, 12 for 21 from field goal, so they're 60% field goal percentage, 80% field goal. 80% 3-point percentage. That's going to go down. That's not sustainable. Norman Powell's going to miss a shot. He's going to take a heat check. This doesn't last forever. I would definitely look for a number lower than 4 on the Bucks. At 3.5 too. Lower than 3.5 is where I want to be in on the Bucks.
I'm actually seeing 2.5 right now.
Take it. Minus 2.5 for the Bucks is a good live entry point for us.
Yep. Down 7.
Yeah, and I think what the Milwaukee Bucks are going to go into the second quarter talking about is they had a lead when Dante DiVincenzo was running things, and now they no longer have it.
Yeah.
So I would like to see more emphasis on him.
Well, so Dante DiVincenzo has 2 fouls, and that's probably part of the reason he's come out of this game. If he can stay out of foul trouble, this is a pretty significant thing for us, because I'd love to see DiVincenzo back with the ball in his hands. He got that 1 assist. I think he's due for more. He really's got to stay out of foul trouble.
Yeah, and he's on pace, honestly, for both of those props with the points and the assists. Perfectly on pace, but we would like to see that jump up a little bit. So we're a little, I would like for it to cash by halftime.
Yep.
I think that's very possible.
And listen, Giannis got 3 assists. He's coming up on that 7.5 pretty nicely. But 5-3-3 after the first quarter. At this pace, he will never get that 52.5. And like you mentioned, Frank, Chris Middleton -11 in the plus minus right now.
Ooh.
Mhm.
Yeah, you eyeball test showed you that he was playing like garbanzo beans in this
Mhm.
game.
He looks like he's not confident in his own skin. He doesn't look like he belongs on the team right now. Maybe that's something that you look for going throughout the season. Maybe there's a trade going on with Chris Middleton because he doesn't look like he should be a part of this Bucks team. Maybe you get the Bradley Beal on the Bucks. That would be pretty crazy. Bradley Beal, Bradley Bucks on the Bucks.
That would be a great pickup for this Bucks team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
I don't think it will happen, but it would be
I'm
a
just
great
saying.
pickup if they can somehow make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, as a -6 backer, I did take the -2.5, so I'm feeling okay about that bet right now. I do believe from what we saw, because I did mention that either you're seeing a broken play running on the shot clock, and somehow they make a 3-pointer or an open jump shot, whatever it is, at the end of the quarter. They got very, very lucky a couple of times. I think that later in the quarter that you saw that they did not look good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't know how to go across with the offense. But as a Bucks -2.5 backer, I do feel confident, right? Bucks -6, not quite yet, right? I want to see
Right.
the Bucks come out and do a little more. They're playing defense. They're really playing defense well, right? I do think the Raptors got lucky a lot of times, and they haven't been attacking the basket outside of the first couple minutes that of the game. So I do feel confident. I do believe that the Bucks can claw their way back, and the Raptors can't keep this going on.
Yeah, that's why I like your I like the Bucks -2.5, and I actually still do like your Bucks -6 because what we see in that first quarter was a very very passive Giannis. We talked about it last week that Jimmy Butler, he was the emotional leader. He's a guy who's gonna demand the ball in crunch time. I think you're gonna see that with Giannis once again in this second quarter. Is you're gonna see him try to emphasize attacking the basket. Maybe it's some free throws going on just to claw back into this game. I do not believe that the Raptors have that player right now. They are lacking Kyle Lowry. Pascal Siakam seems to also be equally passive, settling for mid-range shots,
Yep.
not really attacking the rim. So the second quarter should be that quarter where you see the Milwaukee Bucks get back into a groove. Giannis be more aggressive.
Yeah, and not to toot our own horn, but we talked about Dante DiVincenzo being a very important player in this game today. And you can see without DiVincenzo on the floor, the offense doesn't look right.
Mhm.
They're not scoring the ball. Obviously, Giannis is not hitting at the free throw line, but DiVincenzo needs to stay out of foul trouble in order for the Bucks to get back in this game.
And we just saw some nobody crashing the boards on the Bucks side. We had 3 red jerseys around the rim. Obviously, Aaron Baines got that tip and score. But we need we need our savior, Dante DiVincenzo, back in the game. I thought he was subbed in at the end of the first quarter. I might be wrong. Obviously, I'm wrong. But we'll see what happens. This Bucks team looks a little iffy. I was trying to find a better word.
Out of
Iffy.
whack. I mean,
Yeah. Confused, something like that. They don't know what they're really doing.
I feel like the energy is reciprocated though. The Raptors definitely don't look good either. It's just they've hit those difficult shots. If you don't
Yeah.
have those difficult shots, I believe we're looking at a 2-point game right now. So I
Sometimes-
think there's room for both of these teams.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, you know. And right now, I think the Raptors are luckier.
definitely. I mean, when you have Norman Powell 3 for 3 from 3,
Yeah.
that could be considered a little bit lucky.
Yeah, and a couple of them were contested at the end of the shot clock.
Yeah, I mean, it just by the energy of the game, it really feels like this Raptors run from the first quarter is continuing. So I'm curious if we can get plus money on the Bucks at this point. I'm not seeing it quite yet, but that would be the only case in which I would double down. We are basically already doubled down where we
Yeah.
taken the -3, but The only if you haven't taken the pregame bet and you only have the -3, the only case that I would double down is in the case you get plus money on the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And I like that crazy shot by Brook Lopez because he is also one of those emotional leaders on the Bucks team. And you may not look at Brook Lopez and see that, but he's one of those guys who will get in everybody's face, start screaming. You know, he looks like a dinosaur. He'll start freaking out in front of everybody. Get the guys riled up. You won't get that from Chris Middleton. And honestly, Giannis, even being the superstar, you won't get that energy out of him. So love to see it out of Brook Lopez.
Yeah, and to explain, double down what a little time ago that Max mentioned was that if you have a bet at a certain number pregame or even live, later down the you get a better a better number. You double down with your bet, and now you have two bets, one at a better number and one out of a little worse number, but you're basically on the same side.
Exactly. If you guys are trading stocks at all, it's the same thing as sizing your position.
Exactly, yeah.
You know, if you get a better price later on, you can kind of size down what you're looking at. So if we have -6 and -3, I don't want to come in again at anything that is lower than anything that is higher than plus money, right? Because we're in at 6, we're in at 3. So if I'm going to really go all in on this Bucks team to come back in this game, I got to be getting plus money and more than plus 100 in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think getting the Bucks at plus money is great value, especially of a team, Toronto Raptors, where they tend to fall apart in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter.
That is very true. This Raptors team has blown a lot of fourth quarter leads, and that was with Kyle Lowry. Without him, I can't imagine they're going to do much better.
I think if the Bucks start to in the lead, that they don't have that leader, that on-court leader that
Mhm.
Kyle Lowry is, to get the teams together, get a quick bucket, get an easy bucket, and they might be able to fall apart in front of our eyes.
Mm-hmm. That on-court leader that you described, somebody like Dante DiVincenzo.
That's our savior right now. We need him in the game. We need him running the plays, running that offense.
We need him coaching, honestly.
We just need 5 of him.
We need 5 of Dante's on the court.
That's exactly how you win an NBA basketball game. You get 5 6'3" Italian guys out there. That is the way you win in the NBA. What I was gonna ask you, Ensar, is since we're on the Bucks -6 and we're seeing a lot of
Hello?
Raptors lines, and really I think we're getting close to that plus 100.
Hi,
that we were
Howard.
looking
How you
for.
doing?
I'd love more. I'd love 120, 130 before I come in again on the Bucks.
Yeah.
But an interesting situation for us. Would you be looking to middle at all?
It
just
is.
because you can get the Raptors
It's-
at -1, where you only have
Okay.
a small range where you
No
lose.
problem. No
Okay,
problem.
so right now I'm
No,
looking
no.
at
All right, I see.
actually plus 1.5 for the Raptors,
Okay.
and I think that I wouldn't take it right now to middle, unless it's at plus 2.5. I feel like
For the Bucks.
yes,
So -2.5 for the Raptors.
yes, minus 2.5 for the Raptors. Excuse me, that was all over the place. Toronto Raptors -2.5 is where I would look to middle if I do have that Bucks line.
Okay.
If you can get that 3.5, obviously, but that would mean for this Raptors team to go up close to 15 or more points.
You
I
think so to get that line?
Yeah, I think because right now,
Well, it's already 12.
yeah,
Right? So,
yeah, right now it's 12, and I'm seeing plus 1.5. Obviously, you can shop around. You probably can see a pick 'em or maybe minus 1.5 in some places. I think that they would have to go up over 15 points, which is kind of crazy to say because
Right.
the line it was 6.5 to 7.5 pregame.
All right, 7.5 at closing.
Yeah.
And just to explain real quick, when we're talking about middling, we're talking about taking both sides of the same game at different prices. So we were able to basically have a buy on the team and also a sell at a different price, so we can have a good position where there's only a small range of outcomes in which we don't lose the game.
Great assist by
Great
Dante.
assist for Dante DiVincenzo.
Yes, sir.
Every assist is a great assist for him.
Mhm.
I mean, he's halfway there, and it's not even halfway through the second. So it's not a bad play. And again, this is what we talked about. We need DiVincenzo to
There's a
be
rebound.
a important player on this Bucks team.
you can see it right now. They're a better team with him on the court.
They're a better team with the ball in his hands, and I think he just picked up a foul a couple plays ago, and it's really if he can avoid fouling who he's guarding, which it appears that he's going to be playing up on Van Vliet a lot. Van Vliet is pretty good at getting to the line. He's going to need to play smart. Van Vliet is not a big guy. He's going to need to use his size advantage over Van Vliet to not allow him to draw fouls, and in that situation, we could be looking at a very good game for DiVincenzo. Chris Middleton, I mean, he's not playing well at all.
What is him with playing against the Raptors?
Ensar, I think you should have had your second three from Brook Lopez right there. He does. Chris Middleton doesn't look good. I feel great. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I have the under on him and Giannis. I feel great about both of them, even though I do think the Bucks will come back in this game.
Chris Middleton, you saw it with the first couple possessions. He doesn't look like he belongs on this court right now. And I don't think it's just the Raptors. I think it's him.
Yeah.
I think that seriously, if this Bucks team wants to progress and become a serious title contender, they're gonna have to get rid of him.
Yeah, and you just see missing a wide open three, which he usually makes. He's a 50, 40, 90 guy. You're expecting him to make those wide open 3-point corner shots.
I think the big thing in this game is that the Raptors are on fire from three, and the Bucks are still they're not shooting terribly from three, a little bit better than league average, but it's really that they can't guard the line right now.
Dante coming up with more clutch plays. I want to see what's his plus minus. Let me go take a look. Go ahead, Ensar.
I was just gonna bring up. I thought we needed to get 15 points. I'm seeing Raptors -4.
Wow.
At plus money.
Now, again, so what's the live line for the Bucks money line?
138.
Okay, so if you're in the position where you have the Bucks -6 and -3, I would hold. But if you're in the position like I am, where I only have Bucks -2.5, I would go in again.
Yeah.
Right now we're getting Bucks plus 140. I think we're in a pretty good spot where they don't, they can come back, and a 3-point victory is nothing out of the question. I think that would be a great place to have a double down on the Bucks. But I'd be hesitant to triple down just because if you did get that 2.5, it's plenty good. If the Bucks are able to come back in this game, I have a hard time believing that you'll lose on that 1 to 2 point range.
And look, the only two guys who are positive in the plus minus for the Bucks' whole entire roster during this game, the two guys that I noted looked really good off rip, Dante DiVincenzo and Brian Forbes. Steph Curry.
AKA Steph Curry.
Steph Curry. Get a board.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're going to need some more shots from Bryn Forbes to come down.
They just need shots to go down at this point. Like, that's the main difference between the Raptors winning this game and the Bucks winning this game. I know it's a 13-point game, but a couple threes can bring you very close.
Absolutely. And I hope that wasn't another foul picked up by DiVincenzo.
I think it was by the explicit word that came out of his mouth that TNT just focused on.
Bro,
yeah.
To hang out to this game, though, you have to keep him in, no? 3 fouls is a lot.
3 fouls at this point in time. No.
7 minutes and a second, I take him out.
You got to take him out. Yeah, this is a problem. This is a problem for us. And
that we did not expect. You wouldn't think that a guard would get into foul trouble, especially with Kyle Lowry out on the other side.
Yeah, I think, like we said, he's guarding Van Vliet, but I'm not sure why he's being so aggressive. These are not shooting fouls. I think he definitely picked up one shooting foul, but the other two are not shooting fouls. He's very aggressive trying to get steals. He can stay in front of Van Vliet. All right, Van Vliet's not the fastest guy out there. I don't know that he needs to do that.
I think he's being a little too confident, right?
Right.
Overconfident.
I agree with that because you do see his confidence kind of oozing on the offensive side of the ball. But I think it's a product as well of him being trusted with his offensive load.
Yeah.
And now he has to get back on defense and play defense a little bit more tired than he usually does. Has to make up for some energy loss, some gains on that end. But Chris Middleton now at a -20 on the game.
Sheesh.
And listen, I mean, if you think we're talking a lot about Dante DiVincenzo, you don't think he deserves it. These are the types of things you want to look for in these games, right? You look at Giannis. I mean, Giannis is all over the place. I know he's gotten fouled on a couple of these plays, but he is just a wrecking ball, but not in the way that he usually is. Usually you see him, with that lanky two dribble to the basket and he's dunking on somebody. Today against this Raptors defense up the middle, he just does not look comfortable out there. And like I said, the Bucks are going to need to rely on some of these other guys to start to play better if they want to come back in this game.
Yeah, we spoke about that even before the game and early on, that Giannis, with this kind of drop back, they're not showing much of a zone, but showing their ability to play the paint. He's gonna have difficulty. That's part of the reason why we liked his assists. Now the assists don't look phenomenal. He's still at 3. If it hits 4, we're still on pace. But you see that he has to pass the ball out. The fact that he doesn't have 7 assists as we speak right now is because Chris Middleton is missing shots. Dante DiVincenzo is not in the game. and Robin Lopez is not being given the opportunities because somebody like Chris Middleton is turning the ball over. It's very sloppy play.
Wow. You see, again, these Bucks are getting to the rack and they're not finishing at all. I know we had a foul, but the Bucks are not finishing, and this is something that we're going to need to see a little bit more of.
Yeah, they're not looking too good. Let's hope that they're able to cut down on the Raptors' threes, as well as just try to attack the basket, right? Attack the basket, get some free throws going. Maybe not with Giannis. And Chris Middleton, for the love of God, please make a shot. At least do something that you're good at, or you should be good at, and that's shooting the ball.
Even if they're taking some long twos, which we know in today's NBA is not the kind of basketball you want to play,
Not
but
profitable.
even if even if that's what they do to get back in this game, because I'd love to be able to get in. Oh wow, look at this, Ensar. How about this? The total now is at 220 and a half. We know that the Bucks at this point in the quarter have only scored 6 points halfway through, but 220, that's got to be low, right?
It does got to be low, but
219.
I don't know. I don't think I'm so convinced to take the over. From what I'm seeing, I do think that the Raptors are making a lot of shots, but when they are making those shots, it's inside of 5 seconds of the shot clock. As well as the Bucks, they look lost, and like we do hope they get it together, but it could possibly be one of those games where they look lost most of the games.
219 and a half is too low.
You think it's too low? You think you're in for the over?
You're in.
I'm
and I'm
going
to tell you something that I am in as of right now, because the Bucks do look very sloppy.
Yeah.
But I still see this game as a 50-50. Bucks money line at plus 200, taking it right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting better prices. I could see a 260 out.
210,
Really?
260, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm
over
seeing
plus
210.
200, I'm taking it. I see this game, it's probably because I had 3 right there. But I see this game as it's going to be much closer at the end of this game than what it looks like.
I mean, the Raptors look elite right now, and the Bucks look like they don't have anything going on. But basketball is a game of runs. You have to be able to take advantage of price changes during runs. Unfortunately, this has been a Raptors run for pretty much all of the game. Maybe aside from the first 5 minutes, that's been all Raptors. But this is something that I still believe to be unsustainable. I'm not surprised to see the Bucks implode a little bit, but I just think for the value that we're getting at this point, the over and the Bucks are almost correlated.
22 points in the second quarter with a little over 4 minutes to go is ridiculous.
That's a tough line if you have the over before the game started.
Yeah, so if the books have adjusted correctly, you can't possibly think that this pace keeps up, right? Or lack of pace, should I say? You know what I mean? So I don't hate the over of 219, but I just don't know what else this second quarter can come of. I don't expect him to score over 45 points in the second quarter.
And that should be another assist by Giannis. If they don't credit him with that, we gotta show up with pitchforks. But yes, they credited him with the assist, so we are on track for the Giannis assist over.
Yeah, it seems like the only thing he can do right now is get assists. But I'm not worried about the 52 and a half just because I think it's really high. But he is getting a lot of assists and rebounds right now. And in order to get back in this game, he's gonna have to stop turning the ball over. He has 3 turnovers.
Yeah.
Middleton has 4 turnovers. And aside from that, this team really doesn't have any turnovers. Brooks got 1. That's it. Obviously, those are their main ball handlers, but they're the only guys making mistakes right now.
I do want to ask, do you think that Giannis can be that leader in the locker room and can make this comeback happen? Because right now they're just not making shots. So I think someone needs to step up.
Is Drew Holiday there? That's a question. I know he's not. No, he's not. He's got COVID.
Yes.
So he's not there. Nah,
Can't be there.
that's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough
That's what I'm
because
saying, yeah.
I think Drew Holiday is one of the better.
Vocal
just one of
leaders.
the better people in the NBA. Drew Holiday is a hell of a guy. But I think that he's definitely the guy that I would look for
Crazy.
in this situation. And he's not with the team obviously with COVID. Maybe he can zoom. Maybe he can zoom in and get these guys
Zoom
a
the team
pep
and be
talk.
like, "Come on, guys, what are you guys
This is
doing?"
ridiculous.
I don't even think it's a pep talk solving problem. I think everybody's playing pretty well except for Giannis and except for Chris Middleton. Those two guys fix their game plan, clean up their game, then this team is going to look very, very good.
How many shots have we seen contested threes with inside the 5-second mark of the shot clock violation? They got
Raptors
lucky
are
with that
playing
offensive
great
rebound.
team defense.
Yeah.
Silly, fam. And you see Giannis like jelly on his bread with that finger roll from like the free throw line. It was crazy. It was a good shot.
He's just so long.
But you're gonna see. I mean, you saw him kind of try and take control right now. Try and be more aggressive, attack the paint.
That's what we need. Come on.
Yeah, and you saw it opened up assists for some other guys. It should have translated into more buckets, but I think that they'll get their rhythm going into the second half.
So I'm seeing right now some wild numbers. I'll tell you that right now. -8.5, +8.5 Raptors and Bucks
Jeez.
respectively, as well as +370 for the Milwaukee Bucks. Don't forget to mention the total at 217.5.
I mean, at 219, I don't feel bad about it at all. But,
217.5. I feel comfortable taking the over at that point.
I mean, I'm just saying I'm not gonna take it again.
Yeah, obviously.
You know, some spots you might find it 250. I'm just saying.
Crazy low.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, this is obviously been a bad game for the Bucks so far, but this is a quarter, right? This is a bad quarter. Last quarter was difficult, but not terrible. 26 points.
Yeah.
Their defense was not bad, but not great. They got a little unlucky with some 3-pointers. This quarter they've been bad altogether, and the Raptors have been putting it. Have been really doing as best as they possibly can. So I think that in the second half you gotta see the Bucks, but again, we're all over the Bucks from early on. I can't really say that I would recommend going again, but there's a reason the Bucks have lost 4 games in a row. So if at this point you really want to bail out on any Bucks plays, I wouldn't blame you. But 8.5 to lay for the Raptors, I think would be a bad play for us.
Oh yeah, 100%. The Raptors we've been talking about the whole time, have gotten a little bit lucky, and for that line to be at an 8.5, I would love to see it come down to like maybe 2.5, 3 in this certain situation where they're up. 16 for me to feel comfortable, because I just think that a lot of this was accidental. They looked a lot better in the second quarter. Offense looked healthier, but that's how it's supposed to be. That's how they should have came out in the first quarter. So I think you see sort of everything average out a little bit. I think the third quarter you'll see the Bucks lock in a little bit more defensively, and then you'll see the averages play in where Norman Powell is not going to hit that contested 3, and you have a very similar Milwaukee Bucks quarter in the Toronto Raptors.
I want to see a little run from the Bucks to end this quarter. I think we need that.
Mm-hmm.
From what we've seen from the Toronto Raptors, you just can't expect this to hold up, especially from what I'm seeing. Right, I spoke about it the whole game so far, that they're getting really lucky. I don't want to take anything away from them, but they're hitting shots at the end of the shot clock. They're hitting contested threes, and props to them for hitting those threes. But the difference is that they're hitting them, and the Bucks aren't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the game, that might matter, yes, but that gives you some hope, some light, right? That the Bucks team, if they can make those shots, play a little tighter defense, that they can come back in this game in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's as simple as that, where the Raptors are not doing, they're not really looking so great on offense. I think just the shots that they're taking, they're not great shots, but they're falling.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there's nothing you could do about that. Good players make tough shots go in. So, it's tough to it's a tough pill to swallow. But at the same time, I don't think the Bucks are really out of this game at this time.
Definitely not. We like to bash on Giannis, especially during playoff time. At least I do.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, it's shown. But he definitely can lead a team in a regular season.
Mhm.
He can definitely take over a game, and that's what we're expecting or hoping him to do in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, and I think even if they don't come back and win this game, hopefully they can come back enough to get over that 219 and a half.
Fire Chris Middleton.
Fire.
At halftime, fire him. Because every time he touches the ball, it's no longer the Bucks ball.
I just don't understand because this happened last game against them, the Raptors, and Chris Wilson isn't the guy that he was the past couple of years, but he isn't this guy.
5 turnovers for Middleton.
He is not this guy.
5 turnovers. I mean, that's a really tough. That's just tough. And
Who is that?
Matt Thomas, I think, right?
I mean, if you
Alex
say
Caruso
so,
look-alike.
I don't know who that is. I'm sorry if I'm out of the loop.
He's a
But
shooter.
It looked like it. It did look like it. He looks like
like
a praying pitcher wannabe.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out my guy from Boston Celtics, being Pritchard.
Wait. So, before we leave this game and I don't get the chance, so you do agree with me that the Knicks are better than the Heat?
I'm not going to answer that question. Cause,
It's cool.
Yeah.
You just brought the Celtics out of here.
We're not going to entertain such thoughts. That's how bad this
The
game
Knicks
is
bet-
going.
yeah.
We're going to have to talk about the Knicks.
They're double teaming Chris Middleton, and then he said, watch this.
He said, look at my layup package I just bought with my new VC.
What is no VC? Like, didn't we have to violate somebody last game for them to turn up? You think Chris Middleton had that in him?
No, we had to violate. Oh my God, what's his name?
Oh,
The little white guy. The white guy.
Max Struss.
Yeah, Struss.
No, we
Yes,
had
yes.
no. We were talking about something different. I had to violate somebody on the Heat for them to turn up.
Max Struss.
No, we were doing Max Struss. You
guys,
had someone
you
else.
guys
You
were
had
doing
someone
somebody.
else,
Yeah.
but- All right, can this voodoo magic work on Chris Middleton in the
That's
second
what I'm
half?
saying. Can it work?
Please. I'm telling you right now, this Bucks team has given up 56 points so far in this first half. Excuse me, but their defense has not been that bad.
No, like I said, I think the Raptors are hitting tough shots, and good players hit tough shots. That
Ridiculous shots,
happens.
but there's more good players on the Bucks team. What is going on, Max? Come on.
The Raptors try harder. The Raptors play better team defense. and
Trying does make a difference.
Trying is important. We should try. But I think the Bucks just need to regroup. They need to be done with this nightmare quarter, and they need to regroup and try and get some thoughts together at halftime.
Definitely. I agree.
I know you guys are gonna remember now. It was Kendrick Nunn taking his little floaters.
I remember.
Oh right.
You remember that?
Yeah, he was like 0 for 5 in the first quarter, and then ended up 10 for 10 the next shots. he took, so.
Exactly what we need from the last game we covered. We need some supporting cast of the Milwaukee Bucks to step up.
I mean,
Aside from Dante,
we need Dante to stay out of foul trouble, for God's sake.
yeah, that's the one thing. If something he can do is stay out of foul trouble, please.
And everything looks so easy for this Raptors team.
I think the Bucks just need to get out of this quarter, like you said.
Yeah, they need to survive. Maybe the Raptors can score under 65 points, and they'll survive.
That's
Is that an and one?
was that it?
That was an and one for Chris Middleton.
I think they're
Wow,
gonna
amazing.
talk about it, but I think it was good.
And I think that's a good sign for Chris Middleton. I think the voodoo is working because he looks confident.
Very
shooting the
tough
ball.
shot, by the way.
I think maybe it was just possessing the ball. That was his struggle.
Well,
Not so
yeah, I
much
don't think
shooting it.
he's not a facilitator. He's not a guy that the offense should run through. That's the exact type of shot that we want Middleton taking. Like I said, he's got 5 turnovers because Drew Holiday is out. And Dante DiVincenzo has only played 7 minutes because of his 3 fouls.
Mm-hmm.
They need DiVincenzo desperately not to get in any more foul trouble. If he gets a 4th foul within the first 3 minutes of the game, as the second half, take whatever number with the Raptors. I'm telling you right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's more of the same, and that was a hell of a foul by by Mr. Craig, because DiVincenzo out for the second quarter in a row. It's translating. You're seeing it. They lose by even more. He got pulled. He got taken out with 7 minutes left. And from that 7 minutes and on, it looks like this team is unrecognizable. And hell no, is this an Eastern Conference final team if they don't have Dante DiVincenzo? Crazy, right?
Oh, and he gets blocked.
if
Middleton.
if Giannis performs anything like this, that wouldn't count.
Nah,
But
no.
if Giannis performs anything like this in the playoffs, you might be looking at a second round exit for the Milwaukee Bucks. This is disturbing to say the least, especially if you're someone that holds a Milwaukee Bucks Eastern Conference future,
Just call me
or-
out by name next time, man.
or a Milwaukee Bucks Finals winner. Why did I say that?
Finals winner.
NBA championship
Can I
ticket.
can I tell you something?
Tell me.
If any point in the playoffs this year, the Bucks versus the Celtics, I had the Celtics in 5. If at any
I
point
agree.
they versus the Raptors, I have the Raptors in 6. And if at any point they versus my New York Knicks,
Oh my God! Don't go there.
Knicks in 7.
I have the Knicks in 6.
Don't go there, Frank.
Because Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Can't disagree, Max.
Giannis Antetokounmpo
Don't go there, Frank.
is incapable of facilitating an offense, and when defenses focus in on him, the Knicks did blow the Bucks out this year by 20.
You know
We'll
who
see
you
it
know who you
again.
sounded like right now?
I sound like a
Stephen A. Smith.
Michael Rappaport.
Michael Rappaport. That's
Hey,
even
listen,
better.
Stephen A. Smith makes a lot of money, guys. I'm with it.
All right,
That's all he
well,
does.
we're gonna sign off now. Thank you guys so much for joining the BettorView live broadcast. We hope you guys have a good time, and we also hope that the Milwaukee Bucks can get it together. We will be live next Thursday again, about the same time. Make sure you catch us on our Instagram for the link, and we'll try and root for the Bucks. We hope you guys do too.
All right. Can I do this time?
Well, but before we officially
For
close
Frank,
it
you're
off,
not-
before we officially close it off, let me just remind you guys of the best way to play your player props.
Yeah.
Monkey Knife Fight, guys. Remember, is a better multiplier than any other place in the world. It is the best combination of player props and DFS. Monkey Knife Fight, your new favorite way to play DFS. Use our code watchbetlive.com. That's how you get a free $5 at sign up and $50 deposit match.
Yep. And if you're not parlaying on Monkey Knife Fight, what are you doing? Because that multiplier is insane.
Yeah, we talk about being a good bettor all the time, and we talk about value, and there's not many places, if any, that you can get better value than Monkey Knife Fight. But that's going to be it for today's show. As always, don't forget to follow us on all forms of social media, that being at the Noise Media _ on Instagram and at the Noise Media on Twitter.
And remember to head to the noisemedia.com /Discord and join our Discord community to follow